वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानं जलशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं विष्णुवंश श्रीरूपं सहग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्तं रघुनाथं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादां सगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्ता राधाकान्ता नमस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गे राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णवेष्टाय भूतले श्रीमदे भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 बोल।
Ribo, thank you so much, Prabhu.
हरे बोल, thank you so much.
What was the chapter? Oh, we read Lord Krishna and Balaram meet the inhabitants of Vrindavan. So today we are going to read chapter 28. Draupadi meets the queens of Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Ribo. There were many visitors who came to see Krishna, and among them were the Pandavas, headed by King Yudhishthira. After talking with the gopis and bestowing upon them the greatest benediction, Lord Krishna came to welcome King Yudhishthira and other relatives who had come to see him. He first of all inquired from them whether their situation was auspicious. Actually, there is no question of ill fortune for anyone who sees the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Yet when Lord Krishna, as a matter of etiquette, inquired from King Yudhishthira about his welfare, the king became very happy by such a reception and became to address the Lord thus: My dear Lord Krishna, great personalities and devotees in full Krishna consciousness always think of your lotus feet and remain fully satisfied by drinking the nectar of transcendental bliss. The nectar which they constantly drink sometimes comes out of their mouths and is sprinkled on others as the narration of your transcendental activities. This nectar coming from the mouth of a devotee is so powerful that if one is fortunate enough to have the opportunity to drink it, immediately becomes freed from the continuous journey of birth and death. Our material existence is caused by our forgetfulness of your personality, but fortunately, the darkness of forgetfulness is immediately dissipated if one is privileged to hear about your glories. Therefore, my dear Lord, where is the possibility of ill fortune for one who is constantly engaged in hearing your glorious activities? Since since we are fully surrendered unto you and have no other shelter than your lotus feet, we are always confident of our good fortune. My dear Lord, you are the ocean of unlimited knowledge and transcendental bliss. The result of the action of mental concussion is to exist in the three temporary phases of material life: wakefulness, sleep, and deep sleep. But these conditions cannot exist in Krishna consciousness. All such reactions are invalidated by practice of Krishna consciousness. You are the ultimate destination of all liberated persons. Out of your independent will only, you have descended on this earth by the use of your own internal potency Yoga Maya. And in order to re-establish the Vedic principles of your life, to re-establish the Vedic principles of life, you have appeared just like an ordinary human being. Since you are the Supreme Person, there cannot therefore be any luck for one who has fully surrendered unto you. When Lord Krishna was busy meeting various kinds of visitors, and while they were engaged in offering prayers to the Lord, the female members of the Kuru dynasty and the Yadu dynasty took the opportunity of meeting with one another and engaging in talk of Lord Krishna's transcendental pastimes. The first inquiry was made by Draupadi to the wives of Lord Krishna. She addressed them, "My dear Rukmini, Bhadra, Jambavati, Satya, Satyabhama, Kalindi, Shaibya, Lakshmana, Rohini, and all other wives of Lord Krishna. Will you please let us know how Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, accepted you as his wives and married you in pursuance of marriage ceremonies of ordinary human beings?" To this question, the chief of the queens, Rukmini Devi, replied, "My dear Draupadi, it was practically a settled fact that princes like Jarasandha and other wanted to marry King Shishupala, and and as is usual, all the princes present during the marriage ceremony were prepared with their armor and weapons to fight with any rival who dared to stop the marriage. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead kidnapped me the way a lion takes away a lamb from the flock. This was not, however, a very wondrous act for Lord Krishna, because anyone who claims to be a very great hero or king within this world is subordinate to the lotus feet of of the Lord. All the kings touched their helmets to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. My dear Draupadi, it is my eternal desire that life after life I may be engaged in the service of Lord Krishna, who is the reservoir of all pleasure and beauty. This is my only desire and ambition in life. After this, Satyabhama began to speak. She said, "My dear Draupadi, my father was very much afflicted of the death of his brother Prasena, and he falsely accused Lord Krishna of killing his brother and stealing the Shyamataka jewel, which had actually been taken by Jambavan. Lord Krishna, in order to establish his pure character, fought with Jambavan and rescued the Shyamataka jewel, which was later delivered to my father. My father was very much ashamed and sorry for accusing Lord Krishna of his brother's death. After getting back the Shyamataka jewel, he thought it wise to rectify his mistake, so although he had promised others my hand in marriage, he submitted the jewel and myself at the lotus feet of Krishna, and thus I was accepted as his maid servant and wife. Hare Krishna, Lebhang Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Antariksh Prabhu, Tandat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Swami Prabhu, Jai
Vibhav
Prabhupada.
Prabhu, Antariksh Parvadana
Prabhupada.
Prabhu. Vibhav.
Who wants to continue?
Yeah, I can, Prabhu.
Oh, yes, Prabhu, thank you.
A little bit of flu.
Oh,
From where, Prabhu? Oh, after.
yes, Prabhu.
After this, Jambavati replied to Draupadi's question. She said, "My dear Draupadi, when Lord Krishna attacked my father Jambavan, the king of the Rakshas, is it Rakshas? My father did not know that Lord Krishna was his former master, Lord Ramachandra, the husband of Sita. Not knowing the identity of Lord Krishna, my father remained continually engaged in fighting with him for 27 days. After this period, when he became very tired and fatigued, he could understand that since no one but Lord Ramachandra could defeat him, his opponent Lord Krishna must be the same Lord Ramachandra. He thus came to his senses and not only immediately returned the Shayamantaka jewel But in order to satisfy the Lord, he presented me to him to become his wife. In this way, I was married to the Lord, and thus my desire to remain life after life as a savior of Krishna was fulfilled. After this, Kalindi said, "My dear Drupadi, I was engaged in great austerities and penances in order to get Lord Krishna as my husband. When Lord Krishna became aware of this fact, he very kindly came to me along with his friend Arjuna and accepted me as his wife. Lord Krishna then took me away from the bank of Yamuna, and since then I have been engaged in the house of Lord Krishna as a sweeper, and the Lord is treating me as his wife." After this, Mitravinda said, "My dear Drupadi, there was a great assembly of princes at my Svayamvara ceremony. Lord Krishna was also present in that meeting, and he accepted me as his maidservant by defeating all the princes present there. He immediately took me away to Dwarka, exactly as a lion takes a deer from a pack of dogs. When I was thus taken away by Lord Krishna, my brother wanted to fight with him, and later on they were defeated. Thus, my desire to become the maidservant of Krishna life after life was fulfilled. After this, Satya addressed Drupadi in this way: "My dear Drupadi, my father arranged for an assembly for my Svayamvara, the personal selection of a husband, and in order to test the strength of heroism of the prospective bridegrooms, my father stipulated that they each fight with his 7 ferocious bulls, which had long serpentine horns. Many heroic prospective bridegrooms tried to defeat the bulls, but unfortunately they were all 7 severely struck, and they returned to their homes and defeated invalids. When Lord Krishna came and fought with the bulls, they were just like playing things for him. He captured the bull and roped each one of them by the nostrils. Thus they came under his control, just like a goat's small kids comes from very easily under the control of children. My father became very pleased and married me with Lord Krishna in great pomp, giving us many divisions of soldiers, horses, chariots, and elephants, along with hundreds of maidservants. Thus Lord Krishna brought me to his capital city, Dwarka. On the way back, he was also assaulted by many princes, but Lord Krishna defeated all of them, and thus I have the privilege of serving his lotus feet as a maidservant. After this, Bhadra began to speak. She said, "My dear Drupadi, Lord Krishna is the son of my maternal uncle. Fortunately, feelings of mine, he personally arranged for my marriage, inviting Lord Krishna to marry me and giving him in dowry one Akshohini, or division of armed forces, along with many maidservants and other royal paraphernalia. I do not know whether I shall be able to have the shelter of Lord Krishna life after life, but still I pray to the Lord that wherever I may take my birth, I may not forget my relationship with his lotus feet." Then Lakshmana said, "My dear queen, many times I have read the great sage Narada glorifying the pastimes of Lord Krishna. I became attracted to the lotus feet of Krishna when I heard Narada say that the goddess of fortune Lakshmi was also attracted to his lotus feet. Since then, I have also always been thinking of him, and thus my attraction for him has increased. My dear queen, my father was very affectionate towards me. When he understood that I was attracted to Krishna, he devised a plan. His plan was like that devised by your father. During the Swayamvara, the prospective bridegroom had to pierce the eyes of a fish with the arrows. The difference between the Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Bhajahari Das Prabhu.
Prabhu, please accept
Bhajahari
humble obeisance.
Prabhupada, Pranam Jai Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Jai Sri Prabhupada. Sorry, Prabhu, I interrupted. Please continue. Why you stopped by seeing me? So
Oh,
sorry,
no,
Prabhu.
no. I actually could not see the thing that I was reading. That's why I stopped. Okay, Prabhu.
Sorry.
The Swayamvara, the prospective bridegroom, had to pierce the eyes of a fish with the arrows. The difference between the competition in your Svayamvara and mine was that in your case, the fish was hanging openly on the ceiling in clear view. But in my case, the fish was covered with a cloth and could only be seen by the reflection of the cloth in a pot of water. That was the special feature of my Svayam Vara. The news of the device was spread all over the world, and when the princes heard of it, they arrived at my father's capital city from all directions, fully equipped with armor and guided by the military instructors. Each one of them desired to win me as his wife, and one after another they raised the bow and arrow, which was left there for piercing the fish. Many could not even join the bowstring to the two ends of the bow, and without attempting to pierce the fish, they simply left the bow as it was and went away. Some with great difficulty drew the strings from one end to the other, and being unable to tie the other end, they were suddenly knocked down by the spring-like bow. My dear queen, you will be surprised to know that at my Svayamvara, Svayamvara meeting, there were many famous kings and heroes present. Heroes like Jarasandha, Ambasta. Is it Ambashta? Shishupal, Bhishma Sen. Prabhu, isn't Shishupal the one who was blaspheming Lord Krishna?
Yes, Prabhu.
Oh, yes.
So,
Bhishma Sena, Duryodhana, and Karna were of course able to string the bow, but they could not pierce the fish because it was covered and they could not trace it out from the reflection. Is it when they were trying to marry, I think it's Draupadi, ne? Where Bhishma and the five Pandavas and Lord Krishna came in as, what do we call this, Vaishnavas, or is it Brahmanas? Brahmins.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhu. Because it was covered and they could not trace it out from the reflection. They celebrated heroes of the Pandavas. Arjuna was able to see the reflection of the fish on the water, but although with great caution, he traced out the location of the fish and shot an arrow. He did not pierce the fish in the right spot. His arrow at least touched the fish, and so he proved himself better than all other princes. All the princes who had tried to pierce the target were disappointed, being baffled in the attempts, and some candidates had even left the place without making an attempt. But when at last Lord Krishna took up the bow, he was able to tie the bowstring very easily, just as a child plays with a toy. He placed the arrow, and looking only once at the reflection of the fish in the water, he shot the arrow, and the pierced fish immediately fell down. This victory of Lord Krishna was accomplished at noon during the moment called Abhijit, which is astronomically calculated as auspicious. At that time, the vibration of Jai Jai was heard all over the world, and from the sky came sounds of drums beat by is it denzens, or is it how do you pronounce it, Prabhu? Denzens of heaven. Great demigods were overwhelmed with joy and began to shower flowers on the earth. At that time, I entered the arena of competition, and the ankle bells on my legs were sounding very mediocriously. As I walked, I was nicely dressed with new silken garments. Flowers were decorating my hair, and because of Lord Krishna's victory, I was in ecstatic joy and smiling very pleasingly. I was carrying in my hands a golden necklace bedecked with jewels, which was glittered at intervals. My curling hair encircled my face, which was shining with a bright luster due to the reflection of my various rings. My eyes blinking. I first of all observed at all the princes present, and when I reached my lord, I very slowly placed the golden necklace on his neck. As I have already informed you, from the very beginning, my mind had been attracted by Lord Krishna, and thus I considered the garlanding of the Lord to be my great victory. As soon as I placed my garland on the neck of the Lord, they sounded immediately the combined vibrations of mridangas, patahas, conch shells, drums, kettle drums, and other instruments, causing a tumultuous, is it tumultuous sound. And while the music played, expect male and female dancers began to dance, and singers began to sing sweetly. My dear Dorpadi, when I accepted Lord Krishna as my worshipable husband, and he also accepted me as his maidservant, there was a tumultuous growing among the disappointed princes. All of them became very agitated because of their lusty desires, but without caring for them. My husband, in his form as the four-handed Narayan, immediately took me on his chariot, which was drawn by four excellent horses. Expecting opposition from the princes, he armed himself and took up his bow named Saranga. But our celebrated driver, Daruka, drove the beautiful chariot without a moment's delay towards the city of Dwarka. Thus, in the presence of all the princes, I was carried away very quickly, exactly as a deer is carried away from the flock by a lion. Some of the princes, however, wanted to check wanted to check our progress, and thus equipped with proper weapons, they opposed us just as dogs try to oppose the progressive march of a lion. At that time, due to the arrows of due to the arrows released by the saranga, bow of them lost their legs, and some lost their heads and their lives, and others fled from the battlefield. The Supreme Personality of Godhead then entered the most celebrated city of the universe, Dwarka, and he and as he entered the city, he appeared like the shining sun. The whole city of Dwarka was profusely decorated on that occasion. There were so many flags and festoons and gates all over Dwarka that the sunshine could not even enter the city. I have already told you that my father was very much affectionate to me. So when he saw that my desire was fulfilled by getting Lord Krishna as my husband in great happiness, he began to distribute to friends and relatives various kinds of gifts, such as valuable dresses, ornaments, bed bedsteads, and sitting carpets. Lord Krishna is always self-sufficient, yet my father, out of his own accord, offered my husband a dowry consisting of riches, soldiers, elephants, chariots, horses, and many rare and valuable weapons. He presented all these to the Lord with great enthusiasm. My dear queen, at that time I could guess that in my previous life I must have performed some wonderfully pious activity, and as a result I can in this life be one of the maidservants in the house of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when all the principal queens of Lord Krishna had finished their statements, Rohini, as the representative of the other 16,000 queens, began to narrate the incident of the becoming wives of wives of Krishna. My dear queen, when Bahum Asura was conquering all the world, he collected wherever possible all the beautiful daughters of the kings and kept us arrested within his palace. When news of our imprisonment reached Lord Krishna, he fought with Baumasura and released us. Lord Krishna killed Baumasura and his soldiers, and although he had no need to accept even one wife, he nonetheless, by our request, married all 16,000 of us. My dear queen, our only qualification was that we were always thinking of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, which is the way to release oneself from the bondage of repeated birth and death. My dear Queen Drupadi, please take it from us that we are not after any opulence such as kingdom, empire, or possessions or of heavenly enjoyment. We do not want to enjoy such material opulences, nor do we desire to achieve the yogic perfections, nor the exalted post of Lord Brahma, nor do we want any of the different kinds of liberation. Sayalokya, Sarishti, Samipya, or Sayugya. We are not at all attracted by any of these opulences. Our only ambition is to bear on our heads life after life the dust particles attached to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. The goddess of fortune also desired to keep that dust on her breast along with the fragrant saffron. We simply desire this dust which accumulates underneath the lotus feet of Krishna as he travels on the land of Vrindavan as a cowherd boy. The gopi especially, and also the cowherd man and the aborigine tribeswomen also desire to become the grass and straw on the street of Vrindavan, to be trampled on by the lotus feet of Krishna. My dear queen, we wish to remain as such life after life without any other desire. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport of the second volume, 28th chapter of Krishna. Drupadi meets the queens of Krishna.
Oh, thank you.
Haribol,
Thank you so much, Taban.
Thank you, Prabhus.
Okay, tomorrow we need to check next chapter 29.
Yes, Prabhu.
The ceremony is performed by Vasudeva. Okay, now let's go to the 6 Astakam prayers. Oh, Hare Krishna, Ero Prabhu, Tandarpanam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Ero Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhus. Please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila
Haribol.
Prabhupada.
Prabhu, will you read?
Who wants to start?
Yeah, I will.
Yes, Prabhu.
Cheto darpana marjanam bhava maha davangi nirvapanam श्रेयः कैराव चंद्रिका वितरणम विद्या वधु जीवनम आनंदम बुद्धि वर्धनम प्रतिपादम पूर्णमृतस्वादनम सर्वात्म स्नपनम परम विजयते श्री कृष्ण संकीर्तनम नामम अकारी बहुधा
च सर्वशक्तिस् तत्र तत्रापिता निय नियमिताः स्मरणे न कालः एतादृशी तव कल्प भगवान् ममापि दुर्वै दुर्दैवमिदर्शम् इहाजनि नानुरागः
Trinad.
त्रिणादपि
Are you reading all, Prabhu?
त्रिणादपि सुनीचेन. Will you read, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Trinad api sunichena taro api saheshnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari.
नदनं नदनं न सुन्दरं कवितं वा जगदीशामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भगवद्भक्तिरेधिविद्वयि
Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddho kripaya tvavapada pankaja stitadu lisatrishim vichintaya.
नयनं गलदाश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदहृदया गिरा फलकैर्निचिन्तं वपु कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति
Yugaitam nimishena chakshusha pravishaitam shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda viraye name.
Hero Prabhu can read it. Hero Prabhu sounds good.
Thank you, Prabhu. Ashlishya va padaratam pinashtumam adarshanan mare mahatam karotu va yata tata va vidadatu lampato mat prana natas tusa eva napara. Thank you, Prabhu.
Haribo.
Glories to the Sri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. These are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names. But I am so fortunate that I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a taste of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
O my, o Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal savior, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
Hero Prabhu can read it. Hero Prabhu Kapil Srivatsa Prabhu.
Oh, great. Sorry, I should be much more active. Oh my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
Oh.
Haribo.
Oh Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
Kapil Srivatsa Prabhu can read.
Krishna Kapil Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. You can read, Prabhu, the last one.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally.
Haribol, Sri Sri. Yeah.
The first offense to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. To consider the names of the demigods like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the names of the Lord Vishnu.
To discover the orders of the spiritual master and considering the
To blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in preference to the Vedic version. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination. To give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord.
to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name.
To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda. To instruct the faithless persons about the glories of the holy name. To not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Krishna prema vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa
Namaha. Namaha.
Ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitai.
Jai. Haribo.